when Blake Seville realized he was never going to get comfortable on his YZF-R1, he decided it was time to buy a cruiser. But he didn't want a run-of-the-mill Harley or even a Rocket 3, he wanted something with sport bike performance. The Ducati Diavel was the perfect choice, with the addition, of course, of a massive turbocharger.
I have only been into bikes for about 5 years, Seville admits. Before that I was into cars, but I lost interest. I started on a Monster 659, which is a learner special here in the Australian market, and then I stepped up to a 2008 YZF-R1, the last of the screener engines. I loved the R1 but just could not fit on it, so I had to find something else that would give me the same buzz while taking my weight. Out of all of the muscle cruisers, the Diavel was the best from a performance point of view, Seville says, adding that it fits his large physical stature much better than a typical super sport. It stops really well like a Pony Gale, turns pretty well for a cruiser, has decent ground clearance, is very comfortable and has all of the electronics that a sport bike has. It also looks great and I love the Ducati quality. Seville bought a new Diavel in 2015, and as soon as it was run in, he dropped it to us.
It was a massive job, let me tell you, Bitsina says. The electronics are the hard thing on these bikes, they are complex and we had to make our own electronic system basically. The engine itself is amazingly stock internally, as this was a low-boost job and Blake did not want to change the pistons, camshafts, or alter the compression ratio. So the crankcases, crankshaft, pistons, valves, and head are all standard, as is the 12.5:1 compression ratio. Even the gearbox and, amazingly, the clutch are stock standard. But that is where the stock stuff ends. Fueling the beast is taken care of by a custom-made injection system that Bitsina designed. It runs modified OEM injectors plus 4 additional shower-type injectors in the plenum chamber that are activated on boost. There is 1 injector above each throttle body. Fueling and ignition is controlled by a custom Microtech MF1 and a Bazaz Z5 DC. Bitsina works closely with Amr Bazaz on many turbo and tuning projects. Oil supply was a big issue, so oil supply for the turbo was taken off the original oil cooler utilizing a VDO oil scavenge pump with a return feed to the clutch cover. The setup is, like many of Bitsina's jobs, factory neat. Once final tuning was done, the bike was running like it came from the factory this way. In fact, I think it runs better. A quick shifter was added and gearing was left standard. The end result was not about outright horsepower, but good reliability and lots of torque, smiles Seville, which we have achieved. The bike is 225 horsepower and 206 lb-ft at the wheel. Once the engine was done, work began on the chassis. The fork was revalved in RES Pirung to suit by T-Enoch suspension, as was the Öhlins Do 110 shock.
I have to say a special thanks to Nick Dole from T-Enoch, who set the bike up just right for me, Seville raves.
Ducati Performance billet wheels are fitted, wearing sticky Pirelli tires. The factory paint is clear vinyl wrapped for protection, and Seville has fitted a bunch of Ducati Performance carbon fiber along with frame plugs, mirrors, clutch cover and hugger. Up front there is an autometer boost gauge inside and a Casso wideband air-fuel ratio meter joining the factory tank-mounted dash. So, what is the bike like to ride? In short, it is off the planet, a Diavel with double the power and double the torque, so it is insane.
I did some straight line runs at first, with the traction control on, until I got a feel for the bike and the power delivery. I was soon comfortable enough to switch off easy, and that's when the fun started. It spins up and lays rubber from first gear through to top gear no problem.
And yet it is surprisingly subtle in delivery and feels factory-like in the smoothness of the throttle and the way the low-boost big snail comes on. The quick shifter is needed, as the motor gets to the limiter almost instantly after starting to build RPM.
I also rode the bike through my favorite twisty mountain pass, and aside from almost high-siding, I'd forgotten to turn the DC back on and got a little eager on the gas off a slippery corner. I was impressed by the rideability of the bike. Off-boost it behaves like any Diavel, but between corners it is crazy fast. Definitely one of the best turbo bikes I have ridden.